Your Mama Akba.
Viola.
Your King Saran.
Chiatel.
Your Queen Nahanda.
Regina.
Your Admiral Kaya.
Cynthia Erivo.
The Khan, the Centauro.
Idris Elba.
And Zaylee's mama.
Lashana Lynch.
Your Prince Anan.
Damson Idris.
Your Princess Amari.
Amandla Stenberg.
Your brother Zane.
Tosin Cole.
Fire. The male cast in this is crazy.
Thuso Mbedo.
See you in IMAX and theaters.
That is a phenomenal
crazy
cast.
Crazy
that
cast.
Is some beautiful black talent.
Crazy.
That's beautiful. Gorgeous. Love to see it.
You want to hear my critiques?
Whoa, we're not critiques yet. We're like 1 minute into this thing. Let's
celebrate the cast. I want to say how beautiful it was before I, got to my
Listen, we complain about all of this stuff. What we don't get, we're getting it. We're getting it in IMAX also, which is what she said at the end. I'll see you in IMAX and in theaters. The last time we had an IMAX movie, Wakanda Forever, maybe, which was like a black cast, and we already know our problems with that movie, right? But the last time we had IMAX, we had a production value of this level, I think. I heard She Dreads Me talking about how a lot of the actors took pay cuts to be part of this. Salute to them. I hope Megan Good can take a pay cut also to find her way into this. I'm just selecting an actress. She was on my mind. But like anyone, literally any actor who's just got that month off while they're shooting this can be like, I can be on set. I can be in the crowd and do a reaction shot. Let me be part of this movie. I don't want to not be part of this movie. I hope like a lot of the other actors kind of come in and join it and treat it like the celebration it's supposed to be. It's amazing that I've complained, especially when Professor Snape was race swapped. I was like, guys, just find a novel, find an author, and just elevate their book, because there's no reason why Harry Potter can only do it like a Lord of the Rings. You can find it. Paramount did it. Actually Lucasfilm had the rights to this IP, but they were taking too long. And Tommy Adeyemi, she said, nope, I'm going to go somewhere else. And there was a bidding war that she won. Guys, there was a bidding war for a black-owned IP. That's crazy. Her success, it says a #1 New York Times best-selling author. Her success is translating to different mediums. And, there's a market for book reading. There's a bigger market for movies. And the lives that this is going to touch, like this world that the first page. Can you guys big screen me? Lagos is on the map over there. So that's the only Nigerian city I know about. But that's like when we open up with the book, that's what they introduce us to. This world kind of reminds me of Westeros, except this continent or this land kind of looks like Africa if you look at it, right? Yeah, there's the Horn of Africa, the Somalia horn of it. It kind of looks like Africa. So that's cool that she put this thought into it. And I want to be introduced to all of these places in the Yoruba or the Orisha. The Orisha are the pantheon of gods, I believe, the deities.
Yeah, see, I haven't read this book yet. I don't know anything about the IP yet. And so I'm seeing a lot of similarities to other. I guess I'm just going to go ahead and run with the not even negatives. It's just things that I wish didn't coincide with this. So there's similarities to other projects that had either already graced the screen, or were in production to be made before some unfortunate events happened. And it seems like Blood and Bone kind of rearranged themselves ahead. So to kind of explain what I'm talking about, Lovecraft Country, the second season of Lovecraft Country with Misha Green, Jonathan Majors,
Journey Smoulier.
Yep. So the second season of that was supposed to follow something of like that first page that you showed of the nation, how it was broken up. It was going to kind of mirror something similar for that, like in the US, right? In season 2, that's what was supposed to be from Lovecraft Country. Another one is David Walker's Bitterroot, right? Bitterroot is something that feels like it's eerily similar to what we're doing right now. I don't know if it deals with the like a totally black nation the same way that they're showing, but in terms of the setup, like again, in Bitterroot, which is a production that Ryan Coogler was supposed to be doing. I don't know where the Sinners thing came from, but he was supposed to be
Regina
doing
King.
Regina King was going to star as the matriarch of the family. I can't think of her name right now, but she has a similar role in this. So that kind of tells me that one's not going to happen, which is disappointing because I've actually read the David Walker books. I haven't read this one.
I read the first issue and I hated it.
Bitterroot?
Yeah, with they're in Harlem and there's the police who like confront them, and it wasn't for me. The Sangre family.
Yeah, man, you gotta read past the first issue. But in any case, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. But it's the same kind of concept. And so I don't think that is going to. This is probably it. Like this is the one that made it out. Like David Walker's Bitterroot's probably not ever going to see the light of day now. I don't see them recreating the same character with some of these characters in that similar of an IP with an all-black cast. Same thing with Misha Green's second season of Lovecraft Country. That's probably done forever. So while I'm happy that this one gets out, and I'm very excited to see it, there were projects prior to this one that followed the same path that just never got to fruition. So it's a little disappointing knowing that they're probably never going to see the light of day.
Mm-hmm. See, I didn't know we were going to jump into the negative. So which I haven't seen it. I'm on the same side as Marcus. I haven't seen it. I haven't read the book or anything yet. So this is new to me. I'm quite interested in it. Of course, that cast is phenomenal. So that obviously that is the piqued my interest the most in everything. But I will agree with what I'm seeing Critical Mass say. I don't know anything about it, but that is the biggest thing that I've seen on Twitter is the criticism of Amanda Steinberg as the princess, I guess, in this because of the colorism. People saying that Hollywood does it again, cast a light-skinned actress as a dark-skinned character. Again, I don't know anything about the book. I'm just saying what is out there.
So does the character's skin cut, like their complexion, play a role in how the character was built up, I guess? I mean, I'm asking chat since we haven't seen it. Does her skin color play a role in how the character is built up? Is it an integral
Critical Mass says, I've read the books. There is an issue with the casting. Or there are issues with the casting.
Like I don't think I would take it simply at face value that like, oh well, the character's supposed to be dark skinned and she's light skinned, she can't do it. I wouldn't take it at that. But if you're telling me that there was some arc where her complexion played, a part for her to mature or grow out of, or it was a point of strife, a hardship that she had with somebody, it actually played a role in who the character is, then yeah, that would probably upset me, being a reader of the book.
Here's an excerpt. Samara, mother's voice breaks into my thoughts, pulling my focus back. Have I mentioned how regal you look today? I bite my tongue and drain the rest of my tea. Though mother says regal, the word lighter hides behind her lips. Like the regal Oles who can proudly trace their lineage back to the royal families who first wore Orisha's crown. So regal and light, it was a dog whistle term. Here's another page.
Constant. Oh, okay. We got two excerpts.
Here's another page. As I peek at Samara from behind my cup, I'm struck by her now soft brown complexion. It was only a few luncheons ago she shared her mother's mahogany coloring. You are too kind, Your Majesty. Samara looks down at her dress in false modesty, smoothing non-existent wrinkles. You must share your beauty regimen with Amari. Amari, by the way, is the name of Amanda's character, okay? Princess Amari. You must share your beauty regimen with Amari. Mother places a cold hand on my shoulder, fingers light against my dark copper skin. She lounges in the garden so often, she's beginning to look like a farmhand. So what do you think to that then? Does that address what you were talking about right before?
So, and again, I haven't read the book, so I don't know. This is a little out of context. If this is something that's constant, like if she's treated like the redhead stepchild of whatever royal family she's in or something like that because of her skin tone, that does kind of change the entire complexity of the character or the dynamic of the character if you make her a light-skinned person. If it's something that's just kind of lightly mentioned in certain parts of the book, I guess you can flip it on its head right? If this is a all black country, maybe they're now mocking her because she is light of skin instead of darker skin. You could change it that way. I guess it's easier to just cast a dark skinned person. I don't know if Mandela couldn't play a different character in the production as opposed to this one, but I'd have to kind of defer to someone who knows more about the character to say for sure.
It sounds like Samara, that woman that we were just reading about. Amanda could have played that character, would have been more accurate, but maybe the role was smaller. Yeah. We have to also remember this movie probably isn't made without the superstar cast right here, so some liberties are going to be taken.
Part of it, and then also recognizability, right? Like when Amanda steps into Wakanda, Black Panther, even though it hadn't been put on the big screen at that point, it's easily more recognizable than this. So you would have a little bit more information to go off of to kind of gauge yourself and where you line up in that production, as opposed to this. You have nothing to go off of. Like, this will be the first iteration, and she hasn't scraped through the books before she accepted this role. Are you expecting her to kind of divvy it out the way that she did for Black Panther?
Shuri. She was supposed to be Shuri, and she said no to it. And there's a Vanity Fair article. Critical Mass says, yes, Marcus, her skin is darker than her mother's, and her mother disses her about it. Bro, I'm telling you, I read the book. I believe you, Critical Mass. I don't know why Marcus is discrediting your experience. Like, if you said
I ain't discrediting no. I'm saying, if that's the case, then yeah, this is a bad casting. It's a bad casting.
It's an inaccurate casting.
Well, that's why I'm just saying I can't comment on it outside of what I've seen the people that have read the book say. I have not. If she's supposed to be dark-skinned, I guess it goes to the same complaints we give about the rumors of them casting a light-skinned T'Challa. Why? If it is not accurate to the character's origin.
Well, a light-skinned T'Challa is impossible. Like Nigeria is far away north from the equator of where Wakanda is supposed to be, where I can see a little bit of variation, or a lot more variation in skin lightness.
Yes, but is she light in the book?
She's not light in the book, and therefore it's inaccurate, and we agree, all three of us go there. I want to add, though, I don't want to see a traumatic theme of colorism played out on my screen. I don't want themes of trauma and slavery. Colorism is another one. So if that means that this movie won't have that undertone or undercurrent of the book, that mom keeps making fun of her skin, then I'm going, fine. Like, that, this is actually a good thing to come out of this inaccurate casting. There is a good thing that comes from it. Now, you can still tell me, Chillmonger, shut up. They can get a dark-skinned character to play Amari, and they can not show the themes of colorism in this movie. And I would say that is the best-case scenario. But I'm not going to get stupid little colorism being enforced and furthered through this movie, and that's an awesome thing to me. Silver lining.
I mean, I guess it's one less point of conflict that we have to deal with. But I guess, so let me pose this question to you. Where then do you cause, or do you show conflict on a social level when all the characters are Black? Like, where else does that, what's the acceptable amount of conflict? What's the acceptable amount of real world, stuff to implant into the movie?
The question implies there needs to be real world social commentary, conflict that doesn't.
None. Yeah, so none. Okay. I mean, I guess I don't know anything about this book.
Yeah.
But if there are tenets in this story, in this plot, that are real, that connect back to the real lives of Black people, I would expect to see that come forth in the show as well, or excuse me, in the movie as well. So I guess I just don't know enough about the story itself to know whether or not that's going to play a role at all. But most of the good Black productions I ever seen had some sort of social commentary in there. We are Black, you know what I'm saying? It's something in there.
It's about returning magic back, so I'm sure there's a allegory somewhere else in there that is not propagating colorism. Even if they're trying to make it seem like she's the victim and we should be sympathetic towards it and we should be against it, just putting it in the movie is like too much. Let's not represent that theme. To me, escapism is powerful. It kind of brings us back to the Sam Wilson coloring book thing. No, I mean illustration book. I don't want to talk about that though. The next kind of controversial thing is, are they hiring Nigerian actors? This is a Nigerian story. The actors are from all over. Aside from Damson Idris, everyone else is either American born or
no, these are all Black Brits except for Viola Davis and Regina. Everybody else is a Black Brit, brother.
Thuso is from South Africa.
Excuse me, and Amandla.
Thuso is from South Africa. And is Issa Rae in this? She's from Senegal.
Right? You said
Issa Rae's not in it.
Who are we talking about?
I keep talking when you're talking. Go ahead.
Who's from South Africa? I didn't hear you.
Thuso Mbedo.
Okay. I don't know who that is. Which guy is
Woman
that?
King. She was the lead.
Ah, okay.
She plays Zaylee.
Oh, yes, the little girl. Okay, got you. She's from South Africa. Okay.
Yeah,
anything Viola is in, I support her. She is phenomenal in everything.
And how do we know her lineage doesn't?
I'm sorry, except for that Michelle Obama thing. That was tough.
So wait, it's important for you in this production for there to be Nigerian actors?
No.
Okay.
Not my stance.
I just wanted to make sure.
It is the next dramatic kind of negative, since we're in the negatives, that here they go again, Hollywood. And I would tell those people, does this film get made without this cast? No. I get it, and I understand the problem. In a perfect world, we get these top A-list Nigerian actors to play it. There are no A-list Nigerian actors. Damson Idris, and John Boyega, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't taking it from that angle, but I also don't feel the need to match ethnicity in that way, because that's just not the way that things are currently going with Black projects in Hollywood. Who played Harriet Tubman?
Cynthia Erivo.
Who played Martin Luther King?
Who?
What's his name?
Your boy, who they also said was being eyed for T'Challa and turned it down.
Bensley King Adir. Aaron Pierre.
Name? He was in shit.
Oh gosh.
He was in Jack Reacher. He was in
David Oyelowo.
There you go. David.
Yeah.
David Oyelowo. I named a pilot after him because he was a pilot in Red Tails. So in my
is his wife white? His wife is white, isn't
Bro.
she? I'm pretty sure she is.
I mean, she probably
I'm pretty sure she is.
That's not my point, though.
I think she is.
Is that if it's not a requirement for you to be of African American descent for you to play Martin Luther King, I think anybody can play these characters as well.
And then I would tell the Nigerians who are pissed, the transatlantic slave trade was a long time ago, and the part of the world where many of these Americans are descendant of is the same region that you're complaining they're not from. So it's enough to me to go same part of the world. And like Nigeria, or like, let me say this, a remnants of the colonialism are these countries and these borders and these lines and stuff like that. I'm good and I go, oh, that's a West African, even if they're American born with American grandparents, like for the next 8-9 generations. I still ethnically recognize you as home to there. Like you guys have a great 11 times over a great grandparent that you share, and you're Nigerian, but they're an American. It's a complaint I have to recognize. I hear it. I'm sure they'll fill out the rest of the cast with locals. And maybe once the sequel, because there are 3 books in this trilogy, the Legacy of Orisha trilogy, there's 3 books, and I just dropped something. I dropped my DeMar DeRozan book. The sequels, they could look for a Nigerian actor to, whoever's that new actor who's in the book, new character who's in the book. They can start getting creative with it because they don't no longer need the star power to sell this movie.
And then also, I mean, like the star roles or the speaking roles aren't the only roles in a movie like this. If we're trying to create a nation full of Black people, there are plenty of places for there to be, for you to hire extras, for you to hire, grips and stuff like that of actual Nigerians, if that's what you're going for. It's not that hard to do. And the only way that you can serve, or there's not only one way to serve that either. Like, a starring role is not the only way to represent Nigeria in this movie, if that's what you're seeking to do. If you're really worried about it, if you care, then it would come through in other aspects of the film, not just in the actual physical representation of a Nigerian person.
You sound like Disney.
No, I don't sound like Disney. There's more to Nigeria than just a person who's from Nigeria. What if they find a white Nigerian? Then Nigerian is represented, huh?
That sounds like Disney.
Yeah, that's Disney. I'm saying, if it's that important to you, then it shouldn't be superficial. It shouldn't be, okay, box checked, we have a person from Nigeria. You should incorporate aspects of that culture into what you show on screen, the areas that you shoot in. Go shoot in Nigeria. I'm sure you'll get a nice hefty tax credit for doing it in a foreign country. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're filming in South Africa.
Ew. But I mean, that's just cool. It's no longer, well, I mean, it's kind of still, but technically not an apartheid state.
I was watching a video of white South African colonizers say how. No, this was an old video from like the 1950s. Say why the South Africans should get should be able to participate in some of the buildings and building that they were doing and things like that, or benefit from some. I was like, it was two white people talking about, one defending why and one going. I was like, look at the two. Well, I don't want to say what I said out, but it was an interesting video to watch. I was like, this is fascinating.
He said the muskrat. What does that mean?
I say Elon.
You know that in the Black Panther animated series, they made him have a white brother named Hunter, but I think he was already in the comic book.
Yeah, that's the thing. The White Wolf.
If this movie takes off, this and all of the tickets Dramac pledged to buy, help this movie take off, it'll be great. If it doesn't, I'm going to look at that January 2027 release. If it's coming in January 15th of that year, yeah, great. IMAX screenings, that's awesome. What if people don't go and see it? On the opposite side of that, February in 2018 is when we had Black Panther. It did so well, and since it was freaking February, there was no competition coming out for that movie. I think Deadpool 2 came out a little bit later, but other than that, there was really no competition. And that is big competition. But other than that, there was nothing else because it was the month of February. Nothing comes out in February. January is even better. Nothing new will come out. You're competing against a month-old movie that came out in Christmas, which would be whatever Star Wars movie it is supposed to be. I don't know. Or Inside Out 2, I think. Or 3. Or Ice Age 6. That's what you're going to be dealing with. And then here you come on January 15. You got all the IMAX screens with nothing afterwards. If this is a hit, it will be a hit for a long time. If this becomes a destination movement, then we'll be in a very good position. We could have $1 billion hitter, maybe.
I like that it's going in January, actually, opposed to the Black History Month February release, because it tells me that they have confidence in this movie beyond the Black audience.
That's right? Not what that tells me.
In January instead of Black History Month?
When's the last time a big January movie came out that was like white?
No, that's not what I'm looking at.
Okay.
If they released it during Black History Month, the same way that they're doing Brave New World with Sam Wilson, that would tell me everything that I need to know about their confidence in the movie. They want the timing of the movie to carry it, right? They want the social association to the movie to carry it. If there is no social association, if there is no, hey, Black people come out and watch a movie month, like Black History, and you still have the confidence to release it in the middle of that month, whether it has competition or not. They're putting it out at a time that's not built for the Black movie. All right, like Black Panther released in on February. This new the new what's called it movie, the new
Brave New World.
Brave New World. They released Wakanda Forever right around the holidays as well. Those movies are sandwiched in on times when Black people go see movies. First of the year, right after Christmas, right after New Year's, that is not usually a popular time to go spend a whole bunch of frivolous money. So if your movie has legs in January at the start of the new year, that's a good film.
Well, the legs are going to be in February. 2 weeks after January 15, you're in the month of February.
What is going to be their biggest chunk of the draw? It's going to be during the opening, right? The legs
first 5 days
grow. Yeah.
First 5 days of a movie's box office gross are always half of what it eventually does.
So we're not paying attention to the November weeks because that's not what we're trying to maximize. We're trying to maximize a big opening.
Gotcha.
And conventional wisdom would tell you, oh, just go to Black History Month. Black people will eat it up. So if they're not doing that, that tells me that they have confidence in the audience beyond the Black audience.
Well, then why not May or June? Well, we could say that the IMAX screens are taken.
Yeah, we still got time for it to get pushed back or reorganized.
Ooh, that'd be interesting. If it does so well and they see the movies and they see the dailies, the producer sees what he has on it and he goes, no, this is not a January release. We better fight whatever studio has those IMAX screens in July. We got to take the July and Paramount pay.
Even though a lot of these actors took cuts to be in this production, this is not a cheap production. This is not going to be a cheap production. It's science fiction, and they have every Black actor whose name we know in the movie.
Time out. This is about her returning the magic. So for much of the movie, there won't be magic in their homeland. So it could be a cheap.
There will still be aspects of it that are, adventurous enough. It's a science fiction concept.
Yeah, they're gonna have to capture the audience in some type of. I mean, I haven't read the book, but if it's science fiction, I would assume there's gonna be science fiction aspects.
They'll do something. I don't even know where I was going with that.
Because I timed you out.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see when it happens. If it does get rearranged to a June, July type of release, I think that bodes well, man. Like they're going to have a bigger budget for this in terms of production because of who they're shooting with, and it's a new IP. I guess the marketing will tell a lot. The marketing will tell us a lot about where this stands at the studio.
You know how I'm marketing it? I'm saying, I bet you Critical Drinker's not going to review this movie, huh? He had so much to say about 6888, not this one, huh? He had so much to say about Woman King, huh? Where is that? You get all the tweets. Easy.
The woke fest of Children of the Boon. Oh, no, that's Irish. He's not Irish.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Scottish?
Scottish.
See you in another life, brother. Well, if the actors maybe have a deal where they can get a bonus or a back end, if the movie grosses X amount, then all the pay cut actors are entitled to, for every extra million, they get 1,000 or something like that. I would hope that was sort of like why they took it. They'll say, fine, we know we'll get only paid like a hot dog and a handshake to do the movie, but then if it's successful, we are entitled to a little bit on the back end. K.O. said it's definitely fantasy. Yeah,
it's not as much science fiction; it's more fantasy. Which even still, if that's the gist of the story, I do expect to see some kind of teaser. If it's nothing but a flashback of when the magic was there.
I want to field this question, but I'll answer it next. One of you guys can take it. He says, "Who gives a shish how much money it makes? Talking about movies this way takes power away from creative. Look at the films that came out in 94 and imagine talking this way about them. So who cares about how much money it makes, Darius?"
Because, different times too. Money changes, audience changes, pricing of things have changed. The demand of things have changed. What it costs to see a movie in 94 is not what it costs to see a movie now. It costs me personally, $20 to see a movie. And that's just me alone. I haven't bought popcorn or anything else like that. So there's a lot more that goes into that. So talking about why doesn't, what makes money, it's not so much that we're talking about, it's that does matter. Hollywood's looking at that, the production companies are looking at that, the studios are looking at that. Like if your film,
when it's a black production,
if your film's not making money, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, next project. And
they're going to go through that budget with a fine-tooth comb. Every dollar will be accounted for. You ain't gonna be able to wipe your butt without getting an invoice.
Like most things I see differently with aggressively relaxing, it's racial. It's like the money that it makes allows for other black movies to claim. You see the stigma about we don't sell internationally, like that's all. And then even this getting a trilogy and a sequel and a trilogy relies on the money that it makes. And we're giving a shout out to the actors who took a pay cut also. The money is pivotal to this conversation just for the racial reasons only. I'm not over here saying like it's going to be a bad movie adaptation. Like that's a different conversation we can have. Which, by the way, everyone, how closely adapted to this book does it need to be? I already got the author who's part of this. Yeah, the castings are wrong. Yes, the ages of some of these characters are off. But again, I have to remember that this movie doesn't happen without these castings. It doesn't get greenlit. Paramount doesn't pick it up. Or like, I need, as much as I need accuracy, I understand this is an adaptation and it doesn't have to be one for one. Harry Potter wasn't one for one either. If it can,
I think having the writer involved gives me confidence that whatever changes are made will be subtle or will be smooth enough that it shouldn't affect the audience. Now, if she comes into this and she makes changes that are so off-putting to the audience, that's pretty concerning for the future of the franchise, because then that tells me you may have a problem adapting to the big screen, because you should be able to please your audience, right? And if she's that headstrong about not going with certain studios, she's willing to walk away, say no, wait for a better deal to come back around, then she's not a pushover, right? And so I can trust that she's protective over her story.
If she was a pushover, this would still be in purgatory with Lucasfilm. Exactly. She's not a pushover. She knew that this is a best-selling book.
Mm-hmm. And so that lets me know that, again, she'll protect her IP. She'll write something that's coherent, at least. I guess the benefit for guys like me and Darius and even Chill right now at the moment is that there is no level of expectation, right? There's no expectations built on it, and that's what it is for a lot of fans. So she'll have an easy run of it, I think, in that regard, in terms of accuracy to canon, because it won't be known. It won't be known to a lot of people. A lot of people, similarly to what they did with Black Panther, will build their knowledge of the IP based off of this introduction. So it won't be hard. It'll be the hardcore fans that'll probably bring her to task for it, but I think she's smart enough to know how to please those fans at the same time.
It's her story. She's not going to bastardize it. I know she won't. She'll make differences because this is the movie and it's a book, which is kind of what George R.R. Martin said in that famous quote. They'll tell you it's the movie, that's why it's got to be different, and then they'll change things. But this is the author herself doing the changes, so it's for good reason, or it's for appropriate reasons that we can justify. Like I keep justifying, the cast needs to be these stars, or else they need to be not Nigerian, or else it wouldn't be made. It wouldn't get the attention on this stream right now, and every other person who's talking about it wouldn't be talking about it without Viola Davis, who's not Nigerian, or Tosin Cole, my boy from Supercell, who his star power after 3 seasons is going to be a lot, because 2027, that's when this movie comes out. 3 seasons of Supercell, he'll be bigger than what he is now. Damson Idris may have a movie here or there to raise his star power also. Amanda Stenberg could be doing a project next year that I don't know about. She already has the Acolyte rub. She'll be a bigger deal. There's the growth of some of these actors. The potential for this movie, we already love the cast. It could be even bigger. You never know. I don't see Idris Elba's star power running out of shine. Lashana Lynch can only get bigger. Cynthia Erivo, they just got her straight out of Wicked, and everyone's loving her, and they've all seen her as a
tie her up as the general. Make sure she's nice and busy for the next decade or so. Tie her up. Give
Liam
her
said-
obligations.
Liam gives her Nigeria credit.
Okay. All right.
Y'all heard of Bruno Mars and Sexy Red? Yeah, I believe there was an Instagram exchange, and they're gonna do a song together, maybe.
That man's debt's got to be out of control.
As long as it doesn't turn into Borderlands or Artemis Fowl.
I forgot all about Artemis Fowl.
The first 2 books and very easily translated into movies. The third, I don't know. Listen, it doesn't got to be a accurate adaptation of the books. So she could make whatever problems are with the third book a proper movie. They could divide it into 2 movies. This one's 525 pages long, and that, that's a lot of. It's a lot. You could, if the next books are also 500 pages, you can make 5 movies out of this. I'm saying. We go to another super chat.
That I will retire with the ring, and I will retire with the crown. Yes, no, I'm not lucky, I'm blessed.
These matchups are crazy.
Did that give you the?
When you're thinking about these videos,
you know what they do with the books into films? You know what they do with books into films? Combine them and release them as one film. Not here. Tomi Adeyemi is not going to let that happen. They asked her about what you got planned next. And she says, I can't say NDA. She's joked around like that in interviews. She's doing one movie based off of one book. And there will be future with this book. There will be future movies and future trilogy, maybe even a TV show expanding on this world. She's not one of those people who is going to let them bastardize it. She's very involved in the process. Bestseller.
You had me with Viola Davis.
Viola, Regina, the male castings is something that's what I wanted to get to. That's a positive. I don't think you'll see that again this decade. Damson Idris Alba, Tosin Cole. Now, in the next 5 or so years, obviously Idris has already got his name set in stone. Those other 2 names I expect to grow exponentially. So the fact that all 3 of them are in a movie together will be something like how they had like Clooney, Pitt, Damon all in the same movie in the Ocean's movies. That's what we're approaching. It may not feel like that when it first comes out. Hindsight will show us that that's what that is. Because I mean, those are 3 of the biggest names. Tosin is on the rise. Damson is next up. Idris Alba is an elder statesman. So you just don't get that, and I think it will be one of the only ones here in the recent future.
Not just because of their talents and what they'll do with the roles, but when we're talking promotion, we've got people who are based in England, we've got people who are based in the United States, and so many cast members are part of this that you'll be doing a well job of not overworking your lead actor. You'll have this big ensemble, and they'll touch on every podcast they need to, every streamer. Like I can see Amanda Listenberg on Kaisa not stream doing the dances all with him. Like, yeah, we won't be bored with her discourse. We'll be listening to Amanda promote her movie alongside do so, and they'll be on the couch with Jimmy Fallon also, the traditional ways. But like Cynthia Erivo's she's got a brand and a following with her. She's gonna storm in and take all of the.
Please stop. I think it's underrated, Danny. I think that there is a thirst out there for unseen content for exactly what's being brought with Children of the Bone, right? Like there's an oversaturation for a certain type of content that's being marketed to Black people. This is that difference, that kind of monkey wrench into the machine. I think it'll be very popular. Similarly to how Black people have gravitated towards anime here in recent years. More and more Black people are being outwardly positive about anime. I think they've always kind of watched it to a certain degree with Dragon Ball Z and Gundam and all of that stuff that we used to watch in the 90s. But now it's an outward love, right? Like you see people that you wouldn't think but they know who Eren Yeager is. They know who One Punch is. They know who Luffy is. You know, they know these guys.
People like
Salute
Meg the
Megan Thee
Stallion. Yeah, people like Meg.
Meg,
man.
yeah. Kasegu Magana, Atare Waska, Kasegu, Atashi Waska. You know what I'm saying? Like you have black female rappers rapping about anime in their albums. I think we've crossed the barrier. So
he know who I be. Ain't got to say my name. Stack it up like Tetris, but this money ain't a game.
Don't know verse.